Hi, I'm Charlotte Clary, one of the grannies with Ice Chips Candy. Soon we'll be joining Beverly and we'll talk about our company, Ice Chips Candy, and our trip to Shark Tank. But first I wanted to explain to you what xylitol is and why we use it in our candy. First off, here's our candy. It comes in a tray packaged with 6 tins. These are the same tins that you would find in the store if you went to see Altoids, but this is the good for you candy. This one is actually sour cherry. This tray here we call our variety pack. It has 6 different flavors in it. On the front here I see berry, peppermint, and lemon, but it also has, I believe, cinnamon, root beer, and licorice. So what is xylitol? Xylitol is actually considered the word polyol, and a polyol means sugar alcohol, but it's not sugar and it's not alcohol. So you'll have to thank a chemist for that. But being that it's a sugar alcohol, it doesn't go through your body system when you eat it like sugar does. So that's why people with diabetes and people on certain weight loss programs can use products that are made with xylitol. Xylitol, here's what it looks like. It looks like sugar. These granules in this batch they're a little larger than what you would see in sugar, but you can use it just the same. Like for instance, I'm going to take this spoonful right here. This has 1/4 the amount of calories of a regular teaspoon in it. But yet, because your body doesn't use it like sugar, it's okay. We say at the end of the day, it has a 0 net carb effect. So there. I make things like cranberry sauce and pies and all sorts of things with xylitol. I use it just like sugar. So if your mom wants to use it, it's a cup of xylitol to a cup of sugar. Yummy. So xylitol, where does it come from? Well, you know, xylitol is in almost all vegetation, and even your own body creates xylitol. So yes, it is a natural substance. It's not really created in a lab or anything. And we refer to it as the most expensive natural sugar alternative on the market. And that's true. We pay quite a bit for it, and that's why our product is not priced in the store like you would see a sugary tin of Altoids or anything else. Xylitol has some unique properties to it. It's, like I said before, it's considered a polyol. And in the polyol family, there's these terms you may have heard before: xylitol, erythritol, sorbitol, mannitose, D-mannose. All those are types of products under the term polyol in chemistry. So anyway, we had found that through research and by reading books and things, that xylitol actually is one of the dentist's big friends, because germs and bacteria can't stick on your teeth when you're eating products with xylitol. And that's because the structure, the molecular structure of xylitol is not the same as germs and bacteria. In fact, when germs and bacteria come in contact with your teeth in your mouth that have had xylitol on them, the xylitol makes it such that germs and bacteria cannot stick to your teeth and sit there and start to create cavities or bad breath. Rather, they just slide off the xylitol. You end up swallowing it with your saliva and exiting those germs and bacteria through your body. So knowing that, that's why we decided that we needed to make sure all our grandkids were eating lots of xylitol products. That said, Bev and I right now, I think between us, have 47 or 48 grandkids. She has the most of them. I have 17 on my side. So you can see why we're interested in creating a good candy. But for a kid or an adult to want to buy or eat a candy, It has to be flavorful, it has to be sweet, it has to be fun to eat. Well, there was nothing like that on the market. Bev and I know because we tried so many products like that. And we looked at each other one day and said, do we have to do this too? And sure enough, we did have to do it. And that's how this was born. You know, most good ideas come from fulfilling a need. Well, I hope that makes things a little clearer for you today. Oh, I'll go back and say this. Xylitol now is primarily produced from hardwoods like birch. It's produced from corn, it's produced from sugarcane, even though it's in all this other vegetation. They are studying ways to extract it from other vegetation now to make it easier to have a big global supply. Well, I hope that helps a little bit, and we'll continue on with our story. Thank you very much.
When we started making the candy, we were making it for our grandchildren, and we're grandmas, so we were making it as rich and wonderful as we could. We use 95 to 97% pure xylitol in every candy we make to this day. And we do add flavorings. We add no color. We add nothing to it except good, solid, safe ingredients.
And I will add this, that our flavorings are certified organic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had instant positive response with everybody suggesting flavors and telling us how much they loved it. So we knew we had to keep making it, and we did add probably way too many flavors for a while. You can have too many flavors.
We still have too many flavors. We
Yes.
have, I think, 21 flavors now. I have to interject right here that part of the entrepreneurial spirit that many of you people watching may have, and you don't even know it yet, is the reason that we could test market this product so quickly is because Bev and I had formed a home party plan for our body care products. So we introduced ice chips to the home party crowd, and that's where it took off because people loved it, tasting it at these home parties. Now, also, I will say we got the name ice chips because once we got the first couple batches done and chipped it all up, it looked like ice chips. So Bev went back to cooking at my house one day, and I went down to the basement where my computer was and created the Ice Chips logo, and that's the logo we've used all these years.
And I will say, because we were used to making products and we were accustomed to having people test them and to try to sell them, we had some connections. So we started sending out letters and samples to grocery stores and health food stores. And we just worked the old-fashioned way with snail mail and samples. And what happened is we began to be in probably, I don't know, about 80 stores, 90 stores before people really noticed us.
And I will say this too, with our old-fashioned sales method, we did snail mail, which is going to the post office and putting a marketing letter in an envelope with a sample. But then we also followed up with old-fashioned phone calls. And a lot of times people had already sent back the order form and ordered candy before we even checked back with them because they tasted it and they knew it was something they wanted. So that was pretty fun back then.
It was.
And that was 12 years ago.
Yeah, by July of 2012, we were in all 50 states.
Yes,
we had sold at least to one store in every one of the states. And suddenly we got a call from the show, ABC show Shark Tank. And
that was a fun day.
That was a fun day. And Charlotte was already on the phone with a TV station.
No, he was sitting there. Remember, we were interviewing. He was interviewing us.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a gentleman interviewing us for another thing about our products when Shark Tank called, and Bev doesn't like it when I pick up the phone, but I answered the phone and I said, "Excuse me?" And they said, "Shark Tank." And I'm telling Bev, "It's Shark Tank." And she's like, "What?" I said, "It's Shark Tank."
And I'm like, "Wow."
And I told them, "I'm sorry, we're in the middle of an interview. Can I call you back?" Now I can't believe I really said that. But they said, "Yeah, you can call back." So we called back in about 45 minutes later. And they said they'd come across our product and they were very interested. But we had, I think, 72 hours to get back a video about us and our product, a lot of paperwork, and a couple other things.
But mostly they're looking for how your face looks, how your personality is. So the video has to kind of show off what you can say and do in front of an audience.
That was fun too. But we made it because we had an employee that worked for us at the time, young man, that did a lot of video stuff, not like today where everybody seems to do it. But we got the video done and sent it off to them. And they called us 2 weeks later and said, we'd like to invite you to our studio in Culver City, California.
Yeah. So we were there so fast. The whole thing happened really, really fast. And Charlotte and I had always known our numbers. We knew what it cost to make our product. We knew how much we sold. We were pretty savvy with our numbers at that time, every number. And so I think if I were to give anybody advice about going on any show where people are thinking of investing with you, that you certainly know every one of your facts before you appear, because I have watched those sharks close their notebooks the minute someone says, oh, I don't know, we haven't tried to sell it yet. You're there too soon. It might be a good product, but you're there too soon. So, wonder of wonders, we made a deal and life changed for us.
And the interesting thing is, we didn't finish that deal.
No.
Because you don't have to finish those deals on Shark Tank. And without going into a lot of detail, we could tell two months down the road into that was not going to be a beneficial deal for us.
Right.
However, I will say that Shark Tank is the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely.
It's a $1 million infomercial that has played probably 80 times, 90 times now.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Such an experience. So much fun.
So that's how we got started, and that's our product. And we are the Ice Chip Grannies. People know us all over the country and the world. We sell in other countries now. And we wanted to talk to you about what is an entrepreneur. And we were both entrepreneurs as children.
Absolutely.
My grandmother gave me boxes and boxes of books. So I started my own Dewey Decimal Systems and I started renting my books out to my friends. And Charlotte?
Well, I was raising beans in the garden and picking them and putting them in 1 pound, 2 pound, and 3 pound bags and taking them around the neighborhood and selling them. In fact, I got so good at that my mother would take me in her little Volkswagen to other neighborhoods to sell them. And that was fun.
And even before even as adults, we had many businesses together.
Oh my heavens.
We did a mystery dinner theater thing where we did they were really good. And we did all the scripting, the props, everything.
That was so much fun.
But people who are they're just entrepreneurs from the get-go. They'll put on a show at home and then charge their family to see it because they want to fund the next props for the next show. So
I think as an entrepreneurial mind, I do a lot of products and I create a lot of things, and I can't seem to create something without monetizing it.
I can't either.
And that's kind of a clue that you're an entrepreneurial mindset. It's not that I'm greedy or anything. It's just that I think I see value in what I produce. And part of the trick about being an entrepreneur is producing something that there is a need for. Exactly. And that's what's different about our body care. When we created that, it had all natural ingredients and it healed hard to heal skin issues. Xylitol candy created a need for a product that was really good for the dental benefits for children, but no other product tasted, how do I say that? Tasted good enough that a kid would want to eat it. And so that was our mission, was to create a xylitol product that children, first off, would want to eat.
And we liked certain flavors. We made things that we wanted to taste like Red Hots. We made things that we wanted to taste like the Dreamsicle ice cream.
Root beer.
So those are the flavors that still are very, very popular with kids. The point is, we were successful before we went to Shark Tank. And I think that is part of what made them want us.
Yeah.
Was we had already made our way. We were certainly not newbies in the marketing scene. We weren't experts, but we weren't newbies. After Shark Tank, I will say it was much easier. I mean, people knew us. We had a presence. We had a presence. We were always speaking to some business group. We
College
were speaking
groups,
to
that
kids.
was fun.
We were, in fact, we spoke so much that it was actually eating into the time we had for our business. So we do like doing videos for kids so they can understand how it started and what we had to do, but also that we can still keep busy with our company.
Now, we started in a one-car garage, just so you know. And then we moved to a big facility. We moved to a two-car garage at Bev's new house one day. And that's where we started having actual employees, was at that two-car garage. And we were so proud of what we had there. And that was where we had enough little stores calling us that we had enough shipments going out that we could call UPS and have them stop with a truck every day to pick up our 5 or 6 boxes, little orders. They weren't very big, but they were little orders. We were so proud of that. From there, we moved to a, I think, 3,000 square foot facility that we've actually added on to now. I think it's 4,500 square feet, and we've been there for years.
Yes.
It's in a rural part out here in Yelm, Washington. It's so rural that we have elk surround our buildings sometimes, and that is so much fun.
Yes, we once had an elk come up to the building, try to push his head through the screen door to find out what that smell was that he was smelling outside. So in the early days, we did not really have very many conflicts or disturbances or problems, did we?
No.
I know we were speaking one time and someone asked Charlotte, what are some of the worst problems you faced? And she gave what had to have sounded like the most arrogant answer ever.
But I was honest.
Yeah, she said, we haven't had any problems. Well, live and learn. We have had some now, and we are still standing after COVID, after all the supply chain issues, which for a small business, maybe they're a problem in your home, but in a business, they are really a problem. So you have to wait and wait and wait to get some products and some oils, especially if they're coming from overseas. So yes, now we have had some issues, and we're a lot smarter and a lot craftier and certainly wiser than we were in those early days, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I would say. And you know, the thing is, I think a credit to Bev and I, we never worried about, well, what if this, and what about that, and what about this? We just took it one day at a time and solved whatever situation came while we were developing the product, while we were in the early days of finding stores to buy it, while we were finding packaging for it. We didn't start out with the most...
Tell them about our first packaging.
Oh my gosh, our first packaging. Okay, so I bought the mint tins, and then I went downstairs and made labels after we knew it was ice chips. And we thought they looked pretty good, but we had a professional guy come through one day and went, your labels look kind of handmade. We kind of took offense at that. Well,
we did.
I guess they kind of did, but guess what? That's when the little stores started buying them, was before it was all beautiful. And I have to take this example. I should have brought it up here with me, but our tins are sold 6 tins in a tray, like Altoids. If you go to the grocery store and you see how Altoids are displayed, or any Fred Meyer store, you can actually see our product there. Anyway,
we will hold a product up before we're finished.
Yeah. This tray, we were making the candy and stores wanted it, but we didn't have a way to get it to them. These little trays we didn't have the money, $5,000, $10,000 to start buying trays and have them custom made. So we went to the dollar store and bought gift wrapped shirt boxes, white shirt boxes, and laid out a template and hand cut those boxes and glued them together. And then we found some shrink wrap and we put that little tray through the shrink wrap and used our home hair dryers to dry it, to ship it off to the store. So don't ever allow yourself to think, oh, I can't do that because I don't have this, or it's not professional enough, or that's a hard way to do it. No, success takes innovation, it takes persistence, and it takes just powering through.
I think the biggest thing that we can tell people who are wanting to be entrepreneurs and own their own company is be confident. Trust yourself. We are not warriors. We do not sit and worry, yeah, but what if this happens or that happens? I think that will stop somebody from following their dream in a heartbeat. So we would say, just, you've got your idea, you've got how you think it should look, just go for it. Just go for it. And don't make the mistake of trying to impress people with a fancy building or trucks, delivery trucks. Start small. Put your money into your dream, not into impressing people.
You had a thought there, and I wanted to go back to it. It was about all this. I'm going to put a little pause here till I think about that. So I'll be right back. Good.
There it is.
Okay, I remember now what I wanted to tell you guys. When it comes to just doing it, one thing Bev and I saw happen after we were on Shark Tank is a lot of entrepreneurs wanted to get a hold of us and come see us and talk about their business and their products. And of course we let them come. They would come to our factory that we had, or that we still have, and we'd sit down and talk to them. And what they were frustrated about is they had created a product, and probably 3 or 4 of them had ordered 4,000, 10,000 of these items that they'd created to be made for them and shipped to their home. And they had taken out big loans and mortgages against their family home and everything. And they had a garage full of boxes of these products. And they wanted us to help them figure out what to do with those products.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about here. That, I feel very sorry for all those people, because they created a product that they felt there was a need for, but they couldn't even sell them to their family members.
Yeah.
So if you have a product that's a really good idea, you don't have to convince your sister and your mother and everybody to want it. They will come to you. And if nobody's coming or not loving your idea, it's probably the wrong idea.
Or it needs a lot more thought. I do know that before we even started making mass pots of our candy, we knew we had people begging for more. We could not keep supply. And so we had a lot of confidence that people loved the product. I think it's as important to know how to market or have a marketing plan, an idea of what you're going to do with the product before you go crazy making, especially if you're spending a lot of money to make your product. Our product wasn't costing us too much money until we had employees and a building.
Yeah.
After that, you're pretty much committed.
And also on this idea of don't worry about what you don't know, I will have to say we have got acquaintances who have gone overboard in their entrepreneurial attempts, and they've gone and spent thousands and thousands of dollars to get a patent for their product, but they haven't sold any product now. And that's very sad, because you know what? Just make sure it moves first. Make sure there's a need, and then slowly develop those things. Now, there's no patent on ice chips candy because it's like making peanut brittle. You can't patent a recipe.
It's food.
But that doesn't stop us. All the things that people said, but what about, we're like, so who cares? And we've moved ahead, and we've had 3 companies try to duplicate us after Shark Tank because they saw what we did and they tried to do it, and they'd make little tins. And one of them was, they even had some success with their product and called us to see if we'd buy their company.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
we never did. We just kind of laughed and left it alone, and they're out of business. So you just have to press on and not pay attention to all
Right.
the what ifs.
And having somebody copy you, you don't like it and it can be irritating, but we were first. We had a big presence. We had an obvious presence by appearing on Shark Tank. Nobody could say we didn't have the product as long as we did. We had a lot of help and a lot of proof. But there are so many things you can do to protect yourself. And otherwise, don't worry. There's just so many things that come along, and sometimes they're painful. Sometimes they are problematic. We could tell a lot of stories that we won't, but it's worth it to start. It's worth it to create your product and let your ideas flow. I will say this, after everything we've been through in America, for the world, for the last 2.5, 3 years, we're still standing, and a lot of companies, we lost hundreds of mom and pop stores, little grocery stores,
And dental offices.
dental offices. There were a lot of losses during this, but we're still here, and we believe a lot of these people will eventually come back, or new people will take their place. But anyway, this is a tin of ice chips. This is lemon. It is our tied for the first place. Lemon and peppermint tie all the time. We also make ice chips in pouches now. These look short because they've been opened. They were in my purse. But this is a good product and a less expensive, easy to carry product. So we're still here. We're still believing in the whole theory of being entrepreneurial and not being afraid to start a business at any age. If we were there in person, we'd be able to answer questions. But if you have a question, write us a letter. So we're waiting to hear from you. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
We're going to sign off here. We're going to come back with another segment about being on the Shark Tank show.
Oh, okay.
Hi, we're back. This little segment we're going to do right now is going to tell you about our experience on the Shark Tank show. For those of you who've never seen our episode, you can go to icechips.com, that's our website, and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and our episode is right there, so you can watch it. Just remember, we didn't follow through with the deal that the sharks made with us. So here we go.
All right.
Go ahead, Bev. What do you want to say?
How we got started with Shark Tank was we were already pretty established in selling to stores all over America. And the sharks heard about us, and they called us, and we sent a video after they invited us to audition. We did that, and they called and asked us to come and video.
That was so much fun. We took off together to Culver City, California, stayed in a Sheraton hotel that they paid for. They paid for everything, our
Per
food and
diem
everything.
food, yeah.
And we would go to the back lot at Culver City, which is it's called Sony now? Is it Sony?
It's Sony Studios now. But
Tell them where the filming for Shark Tank is actually, and you might have to ask your parents about this, where the old
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz movie originally was shot.
We sort of taped on the Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah, we love that story.
Yeah.
And outside the back of the building where we were filming was 2 game shows. What was back there?
Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
Yes.
They're right across the street.
So they put us up in what they call the green rooms there, where you can sit and wait until it's your turn. And that was pretty fun. They had snacks for us and everything. And then you would go and you would walk to this huge building, or we would walk to meetings where they would talk about all the legal stuff with Shark Tank. So that's another story.
We were nervous and we had makeup.
Oh my, yes. Okay, we have to tell this story. They're doing our makeup for us, which is great. And I didn't even know how nervous I was. And Bev was fine. And they're doing my makeup, this cute little makeup girl, and she's asking me where I'm from and everything. And I couldn't talk. I was so nervous.
We both thought I would be the one that would be nervous
Yeah.
because she loves cameras. I'm not a fan. Anyway,
I couldn't.
I'm sitting there listening to her, and I start to answer for her, and I can't figure out why she's scared, because once I'm into a situation, my fear pretty much goes away. And so I was able to help her through hers.
Well, I'll tell you what, mine stayed with me. Now, if none of you have watched the Shark Tank show, I encourage you to watch it so you know what we're talking about. Those of you who have watched it, you know that the people on the show, the first thing they have to do is they open those big doors and you start marching down that hall. Well, I'm still nervous and concerned about everything, but I realize those big doors that open up, that's an employee pulling a rope on the count of 7. And I looked at that, and Bev and I have done so many drama productions and things. I went, oh, that's nothing more than a prop. And so then I was fine. I don't know what that was about. But so they open those doors and we go marching through there. Well, when you're marching through that alley, there's 29 cameras on you at any given moment. And when you get up in front of those sharks, they have the microphones so sensitive that it picks up absolutely everything, but it separates it. So once we start talking, those sharks, tell them about talking to us, and we didn't even know what the other person was saying, because they're shouting questions at
It sounds chaotic when you're actually on the stage. You can hear everything, but the way the sound is taped, they can separate. So when you watch the show on television, you only hear the question that's being asked and the polite little response. While in reality, there is a lot of over talking, and I might be answering a question while she's answering a different shark. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. I don't remember being afraid when we were out there.
No, once we got out there,
because you're out there so much longer. Our segment was like 8 minutes. But in reality, we were out there a long time.
52 minutes.
And we were relaxed. Yeah, it was just, all the fear kind of goes away, or it did for us.
Now, the funniest part, I think, about this whole thing was Kevin is considered to be the tough guy on the show. And so I pre-thought of a way to kind of knock him off of his...
She didn't tell me, I will tell you that.
And when we're introducing and they're just chatting with us, I said, Kevin, I think Beverly used to babysit you. And everybody's like, is that true? All the other sharks are asking.
I know, and I couldn't believe they would believe it.
Oh, no, I said that when we were passing the samples around. Okay, here's what's funny. Bev had pneumonia and she was coughing all the time. She was hoping to just not have to cough and stop the filming from coughing. Well, my thing was I'm taking the samples around to all the sharks. I was afraid of stumbling and falling.
Both of them. My specialty is coughing. Her specialty is falling.
So I'm taking those samples, and when I got right in front of Kevin, that's when I said, Kevin, Bev says she thinks she used to babysit you. Well, that just was the funniest thing, and that made it into the film clip, and you can watch that.
Yeah.
So the sharks loved us, and we had a lot of fun with them. One shark liked it, but he didn't want to get involved. He backed out first, and then they were sharks on the water. They were fighting over us.
Yeah, there were 4 of them wanting us. So.
And we brought enough product to give everybody and all the employees in the studio ice chips candy, and they were so excited because I don't think that had happened.
No, typically they don't. The gifts don't go all the way down to the camera crew and the people carrying stuff around. So they liked it. We were lucky. They really liked us. They had had a bad day, and the fact we made them laugh made them relax, and we were already pretty relaxed. I still can't believe how relaxed we were.
Oh, and then the funny thing is after we make the deal and we're hugging all the sharks on stage, they send us back to our green room where before we are released, everybody has to see this psychologist to make sure that you're okay before you leave there, because people that don't get deals can get very depressed. They can get angry. People that do make deals can get too happy. So they check on your mental state before you leave. But that's where I'm going to turn it over to Bev, because we were going to go back to the green room that day.
Well, when we came out, we walked out, we were the first deal of the day, and I'm not sure that we weren't the only deal of the day. Up until we were on stage, they had not been happy with any entrepreneurs.
We'd heard them yelling.
We did. Anyway, so we walked out and we're kind of gleeful. We have to go talk to somebody in another room, in another building, not the psychiatrist. And there's a golf cart waiting for us. And we're like, and the driver of the golf cart goes, ladies, you don't walk here anymore. So that was our first star treatment, if you will. Yeah. So we went and got interviewed by them, and then back to the green room to speak with the psychologist. And we assured her we were okay. So,
and from that point, when we never went back to our old hotel, they put us up in a total different hotel.
And you're not allowed to speak to any other entrepreneur. They do not want anyone to know who does and does not get a deal. So they moved us to a different.
And we had to sign paperwork saying we wouldn't tell what happened at that taping until the show aired. And that was, we taped in July, the show aired in November.
And they knew we would tell our husbands. I think we were told we could tell our husbands, but it was so sad. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't like, yay. And we just went by ourselves and had a steak. Remember,
yes.
We just went by ourselves into a nice restaurant and had a steak. We were pretty happy.
And exhausted, I will say. Yeah.
So the fact that the deal did not ultimately go through is not uncommon with that show at all. A lot of the deals you see on TV do not go through. But the night that we aired, can we talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
The night we aired, because we hadn't finished our deal with the Sharks yet. In fact, we hadn't finished that by October.
Yeah, no, it took
a
while.
It took a long time. And we sold more product in the first week and a half after the show than they were going to give us. So there was really no reason that we would sign that deal.
For all you techie people out there and techie kids, Google Analytics that night as we aired, we got up to 82,400 people online viewing our products on our website at one time for 20 minutes solid. That broke a record. And then we still had people with the Google Analytics. We could look on and see who was online looking at our product from all over the world all the time. And that lasted 6 weeks before there was a few minutes when somebody wasn't looking. And that was very, very fun. So we shipped out 1,500 orders that weekend.
Yes.
Right after that. It was amazing.
And that's a little lesson in how much value is in a commercial or something like this, where it's actually a gift. I mean, it was a great gift for us. I would never, ever regret going on that show or what it does for people, because they didn't really get anything for it. And the Sharks definitely didn't get anything for it because we didn't end up taking the deal. But it's just a blessing when people see what you do and what they see what you do. They like you. They think you're funny. I think Charlotte's joke to Kevin probably won our day. I'm not sure. People laughed. The other Sharks laughed a lot. So it was just a really wonderful experience, and we don't regret a thing about it.
And reality shows have some parts about them that are not real. Just so you know that.
Well, as do game shows.
Game shows, reality shows, yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I think Bev and I went into it with a good attitude to go and have fun.
We did.
Some people go into those so serious, and that's why they get psychological help, because it's a do or die to them. And it wasn't to us.
No, we were prepared. As a matter of fact, I was happy to get the deal. I was excited to get the deal, but I don't think I thought we would get a deal. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was just an experience, and if we got to be on TV with our story, that would be great. But it was great experience for us. And from that day on, we probably started to truly learn what it's like to own a business.
Oh, it's been a learning curve, and it continues to be a learning curve. Some days are great, some days are highly frustrating, but all in all, we work for ourselves. Like they say, why work for somebody else for 40 hours a week when you can work for yourself for 90 hours a week?
Or more, or more. Yeah, so for all of you who think you would like to invent something or start a business, we just wish you well, and we just say, go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't overthink it, for heaven's sakes. Don't overthink it. That is the disaster that will bring to you if you start wondering about everything that can go wrong. It probably will. So just don't even think it's out there, the problems, because they're there, but they come one at a time.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and may this video actually help you in your life and propel you to ideas. Some of you may go, I'm never going to be an entrepreneur. And some of you might go, yeah, it's just me. Well, that's the point, to help clarify your journey. So enjoy. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you maybe again soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.